Hello there, it is I, Trin, with yet another video coming out in a relatively timely manner. I never thought I'd see the day, but here we are. Now, fear not, motherfucker, you are not going crazy because this audio is being recorded separately from what you are seeing on screen, because with Endwalker obviously coming up on the horizon, it's really close. I'm starting to get a little bit more antsy, starting to get a little bit more hyped, and I figured, you know what, let me actually make use of some of this energy, some of this hype that I have nothing to do with since the expansion got delayed by 2 weeks, and I'm just gonna sit down and make a video of me talking about what I expect from the expansion, my hopes, my expectations, my predictions, etc. And I was gonna do this while just playing the game. Now you'll see very quickly why that was a stupid idea, but the point is I wanted this video to just sit down and just shoot the shit about what I wanted from the expansion. And in my head, this was going to be a 15 to 20 minute video of me just talking about what I wanted. Not just about the MSQ, by the way, but like all of the content that I would expect from the expansion. And then I sat down and recorded the audio, and I ended up talking for like an hour. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead of making this one incredibly long video, I'm actually going to split this into 2 videos. So today's video is going to be me talking about what I hope and expect and all that from the MSQ specifically. And then the next video, which I'll probably get out later this week, will be me talking about the rest of the stuff that you would expect in an expansion. So like the raids and like the side content and stuff like that. Now, obviously with this being about the MSQ in particular, this entire video is basically going to have spoilers for the entire game. So I would say if you are still going through the MSQ, if you're not caught up yet, I would say probably just skip this video, because it's like I'm just going to assume that you're already caught up with everything. The next video that I release later this week, most likely, it's mostly safe. There's like one section where I kind of talk about some like Heaven's Word spoilers, but I can mark that in the video and say, hey, spoiler warning for this specific section, and you can skip it if you want. But for this video, like, don't even try. Like, don't even bother. It's this whole thing is just gonna be spoilers. So yeah, that's what you can expect from this video. I'm gonna shut up now and let past Trin take it away. Anyway, let me get queued up and start talking about this shit. I'm gonna go in on Dragoon just because when it comes to like casual stuff, I don't really like going in on Samurai because I'm too like sweaty on Samurai, Anyway, first and foremost is obviously going to be the MSQ. That's the first thing I want to talk about. That's obviously like this is again, like I said, a very story-driven game. This is one of the main events of the expansion, one of the main selling points of the expansion, one of the things that I am looking forward to the most personally. We've been told multiple times that this is going to be basically like the culmination of everything that the story has been building up so far. So like it's the end of they're calling it the Hydaelyn and Zodiac saga. And this is going to conclude basically all of that, which is like the last 10 years of story, which is fucking amazing. Good lord, please. Oh, please don't be Game of Thrones. Please don't be Game of Thrones. But I have faith in them, especially since the lead writer is going to be Natsuko Ishikawa, which is, if you don't know, she is the one that wrote a lot of the best stories in the game. Oh wow, that was fast. A lot of the best stories in the game. Like the Dark Knight story, the I think it was the Rogue Quest story, and of course the Shadowbringers MSQ. So if anybody can handle the responsibility of bringing this entire story, this entire overarching story to a satisfying conclusion, it's her. I actually do have a lot of faith in her ability to give it a good ending. So I'm not too worried about the quality, but within the story itself, there are certain things that I would like to actually see. What the fuck? How do I do this again? Wait, hang on. I'm trying to remember how to play this game.
20 minutes later.
Check this shit out. Easy shit, bro. Easy shit. I've completely stopped talking about... I'm just playing the damn game at this point! Son of a bitch! Okay, since I'm clearly too much of a sweatlord to think about anything else other than uptime while I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV at this point, I'm going to have to record the audio separately. So anyway, as I was trying to say, other stuff that I wanted to see from the story. You know, obviously I'm looking forward to seeing how they conclude this massive story. There's not really anything in particular in terms of like plot threads that I'm like looking forward to. Like I said before, I have faith that they will manage to conclude this story in the best possible way. So I'm not really too worried about any of that kind of stuff. I'd imagine that the Gallian Empire is most likely not going to be a major antagonistic threat moving forward. I don't really know what they plan to do with it. I don't know if they're like gonna completely destroy the Gallian Empire or whatever the case may be. We do know that the Gallian Empire was created by the Ascians for the sake of like creating conflict within the world. So I'd imagine that the full downfall of the Gallian Empire specifically is probably inevitable. What that means exactly, I'm not 100% sure, but I'd imagine that, yeah, we're probably going to be done with the Gallian Empire for good, and more than likely they won't be antagonists moving forward. And I'm also expecting that, you know, all the stuff with Heidelin and Zodiac, probably... I don't see them like making it past this expansion. I do think that more than likely we're gonna end up destroying them in some way, and I think it's probably going to tie into, you know, the thing that wiped out the Ascians in the first place. I can't remember exactly what it was called, like the resonant sound or whatever shit. Whatever the monsters that were attacking them during the final days. We see that shit in the trailers. That's what we're fighting. Is that the final days are upon us and all that shit, and all the apocalyptic stuff and all the demons and yada yada coming and attacking. So again, I expect all of that stuff, and I have faith that it'll be, you know, enjoyable. I'm also, let me just say, I am very happy to hear that this expansion, like the main story section of the expansion, is going to be really long. I think Yoshi P has been on record of saying that it's like even longer than Shadowbringers in terms of MSQ length, which I know, you know, a lot of the MMO boomers, MMO veterans that, you know, vehemently hate any kind of story in an MMO, probably not going to be happy to hear about that. But I don't care about that. I fucking love this. I love the story. It's one of the main reasons why I fell in love with the game in the first place. So to hear that we're going to have a massive JRPG in a month to play, oh, I can't fucking wait. I love that. Hopefully it's not too tedious, right? Hopefully it's not like, you know, 70 hours of dumb bullshit. But I think they've gotten better as the expansions have gone by, of toning down the dumb bullshit and actually making it, you know, pretty engaging all the way through. When I had recorded the Shadowbringers playthrough, I think it took me like 50 hours to do everything, and that's including all of the side quests and stuff. So hearing that the MSQ is going to be even longer, this shit might be like, what, 70 or 80 hours or something, including like the side quests and stuff to max level. That'll be amazing. That's I can't wait. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But there's one thing. Like I said, I don't really have too many like desires in terms of where I want them to take the story. I have faith that they'll do it right. But the one thing that I can say that I actually want is I want to see some characters die. Okay? Listen. I love sad things, okay? People know this. I absolutely love sad things. Some of my favorite anime, you know, Clanad, K-On!, Toradora, all of these shows are shows that, you know, had moments that really absolutely destroyed me and made me cry like a fucking bitch. Clanad especially made me absolutely, that shit destroyed me on so many different levels. And I love that. And I don't expect that level of sadness from this game, because this game is not a suffering, you know, simulator or something like ReZero or some shit. But I do think that this game is long overdue for some meaningful character deaths. Okay, like when I look at like the events of a lot of the last couple expansions, they do a lot of fake out deaths, and it really devalues those moments to the point that I don't even believe that the characters are in any kind of danger when it happens. You know, like I feel like they've almost been riding on the coattails of Hoshaphan's death for like 6 years. You know, like anytime they want to, you know, bring up some feels, it's like, oh, we smile better, Suit's a hero, and then the community is like, ah! But like that's like 6 years old at this point. Okay, I want some new material. I want something that will make Hoshaphan's death look like child's play. Okay, make Hoshaphan's death look like Papalymo's death. You know, did anybody give a shit about Papalymo when he died? No, except for Lise, but nobody fucking cares about Lise. So like, nobody cared. Nobody cared. And all the other characters that have had any kind of close encounters that people might have actually cared about, you know, they just walk away from it in the end. And it's at the point, it's kind of a meme at this point. Like, Y'shtola has legit had a near-death experience every expansion, for the most part. So, and she's still here, right? I really want them, especially since this is the conclusion of this 10-year saga that they've been building up. Something that I do expect in 7.0, is that what it'll be? The expansion after Endwalker, in 7.0 and beyond. Something that I do expect is that we're probably going to get a mostly new cast of characters. Not that I have anything against the current cast. I love the current cast. I think the characters in this game are a big part of the reason why I'm invested so much in the story. But at the end of the day, we've been adventuring with the same characters for like 10 years now. And I think it's about time to freshen up the cast, you know, give us some new characters. I don't want all of them to die. I don't want to completely throw out all the old characters and then replace it with a bunch of characters that we don't know or care about. But I do think that if there's any time to kill off some of these long-running characters, it is now. And I really hope they don't puss out on it. Everybody was talking about, you know, that final end card thing that they had in the story trailer, the recent story trailer, where they like showed the cutouts of all of the major characters that we've been adventuring with for so long. And, you know, people are talking about, oh, the death flags, I want them to actually commit to it, okay? I am going to be somewhat disappointed if every single one of those characters on that end screen make it out of this expansion alive. Now is the time to grow some balls and kill some major characters that we care about and that we love, because that pain will be so great. And before you say, oh, Trent, that's just you being a masochist, I'm not a fucking masochist, alright? I am a suffering enthusiast. There is a difference. I just want some sad shit, okay? And now is the perfect time. Now is the perfect time to really give me some sad shit, okay? All gloves are off at this point. I don't want anyone to truly be safe. Okay, I want them to reinstill the fear of Heidelin within me. Whenever these characters inevitably get into these dangerous situations, actually kill them. Because for a long time, I really haven't had any true fear that they were in danger, and I think it's time to change that. I think it's time to, you know, remind us that, hey, yeah, these characters can die, you know. That's like number one thing that I actually want in terms of the story. I want to see some characters die. I want to cry, okay? Make me, just fucking hurt me. Hurt me. Just make me fucking cry. Anyway, I really want that to happen. As far as who dies, I don't really care too much. Again, I think all bets are off, all gloves are off. Kill anyone you want, even if it's, dare I say, the twins. For what it's worth, I don't think they have the guts to kill off either one of the twins. Okay, and a big part of the reason why I feel that way is because I think that the final scene of Endwalker is going to be the Warrior of Light returning to like one of the starting cities, like Uldar or something. Like in my case, that was my starting city. So the Warrior of Light returning to their starting city with the twins, because if you remember, that's like the first scene of the entire game. When you first make a character, you are going in on a wagon or a boat or whatever to your starting city of choice, and the twins are there. They don't say anything because they're like half asleep or some shit, but they're there with you. And I feel like Square Enix is probably going to want to reference that, basically. It's cliche, it's very corny, but I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I think it would be a nice ending to the entire story. And it's kind of what I expect, like, basically. I don't think that the twins, either one of the twins, are going to die. I would love to be proven wrong. Okay, by all means, if you really want to make me cry like a bitch, kill off either Alphino or Alize, that'll destroy me. That'll absolutely kill me. Oh, man. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't think it's gonna happen. I think if any of the major characters are going to die, it's probably going to be one of the others. And again, if they don't pull the trigger on any of the characters and they all make it out alive at the end of the day, and we all go live happily ever after, man, I mean, it's not gonna ruin it. Again, you don't need to kill off characters to make a good story. I don't want to make it seem like that. And obviously, I don't want them to just kill off a character for the sake of killing off a character, right? Because then it's just meaningless. If you're gonna kill off an important character, especially, I think it's really important to make sure that it's a meaningful death and a worthwhile death, so that, you know, the story is brought to a satisfying conclusion. But again, with this being the end of days, the final days, the conclusion to this 10-year-long story, if all of them make it out scot-free, it's going to be kind of just slightly disappointing. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I also expect to see a cameo, at least, of pretty much every single character that we've seen throughout the story that's still with us. Actually, there was a couple people noticed that in that story trailer, the NPC from the samurai quest line, I think his name was Momozigo or something, was like talking with one of the NPCs from the Rogue quest line. So we might actually see like a bunch of these job quest NPCs in the MSQ, which I think would be amazing. And of course, I expect to see characters that we haven't seen in a long time, like Gosetsu. He's still out there, you know, being bald. I think he was bald the last time we saw him. He just kind of went off on his own adventure, and we haven't heard from him ever again. I fully expect to see him at some point during the expansion. He just shows up with a steel chair and, you know, smacks Xenos in the ass or something. I want to see some characters from the first as well, from the, you know, some of the Shadowbringers characters. I don't know how they would explain them coming into the source, but, you know, a lot of those characters were really good, and you know, I would, in the conclusion to this, again, this massive story, I'd like to see them contribute in some way. Maybe, you know, something to do with Feoul or something. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see some kind of acknowledgement that yes, these characters were a part of the journey and they are helping in their own way. That would be nice. And at the end of the day, I really want the final battle to just be epic. You know, I fully expect it to be some form of Warrior of Light versus Xenos. More than likely, Xenos. What I've always expected is that Xenos is going to, like, basically take on the power of Zodiac, kind of like he did with Shinryu. And then that'll be, and we will probably take on the power of Heidelin or whatever, to fight the final battle against Zodiac / Xenos. And actually, speaking of Xenos, something that I might be misremembering this, but I feel like I remember him mentioning a dream that was similar to the images that we saw in the final days. I can't remember which cutscene it was or what it was, but like, I feel like I remember that. I'm not about to sit here and like rewatch all of the cutscenes in the last 2 expansions to try and find that cutscene. But he's made several references to like dreams that he's had since he was a child, and obviously he's also like insanely powerful to the point of like being comparable to the Warrior of Light in many ways, which is kind of abnormal. So I feel like I know a lot of people probably don't really like Xenos, because he's just kind of he does feel kind of one-dimensional. He's just a crazy dude that wants to fight you. I don't really mind him. I think he's kind of amusing because, again, he feels like a character that like he got a taste of a actual fun fight for once in his life, and he was like, oh hell yes, now I'm truly alive. I want to feel this thrill again. You know, I don't know, I kind of like it, maybe because, you know, that's how I felt when I first got my hands on a fighting game and really dove into it. I was like, holy shit, this is fun. I want to keep playing this. And again, with the writer being Ishikawa, I do think that she can bring out the best in that Xenos has to offer. I think one of the strengths of her writing, honestly, is being able to bring out the best in whatever characters that she is using. You know, like a great example is actually Elidibus. Nobody gave a shit about Elidibus before, like, what, 5.2, 5.3, somewhere around there. And if anybody said that prior to Shadowbringers they gave a shit about Elidibus, they're fucking lying. They are absolutely fucking lying through their teeth. Nobody cared about Elidibus. He was such a one-dimensional character in every sense of the word. And I mean, I struggled to even call him a character before that, because he would just be like, you know, he was just fucking vague as hell. He would just show up, say some vague shit, and then peace out. Was, all right, I'm gonna head out. Adios, motherfuckers. And then that's it. That's it. That's basically what he's done for the last, you know, several years. And then, of course, as we go through Shadowbringers and we learn more about Ascians in general, suddenly they become a lot more interesting. And then in the post-Shadowbringers storyline leading up to 5.3 and culminating in 5.3, we learn more about Elidibus himself, and suddenly he becomes one of the most memorable characters in the whole expansion. So if she can make Elidibus interesting, I think that she can also bring out the best in Xenos. And of course, I don't want to make it sound like she's the only reason why Elidibus was a good character. I am aware that there are many people involved in that process. I'm just saying, you know, she's the lead writer, so I'd imagine that she was able to bring out a lot of the, again, like the best that the character has to offer. And that's what I think that she can do with Xenos. I think Xenos is a character that is kind of shrouded in a lot of mystery. He's kind of one-dimensional right now, but like, I don't know. I feel like they can do some interesting stuff with him, and that's something that I do hope that they manage to do. I don't really need them to redeem him or anything like that. I don't think they can redeem him, but I do think they can make him a lot more interesting, and that's honestly what I expect. I expect Xenos to be a much more interesting character by the end of Endwalker, because I do expect him to be the final boss, or at least the conduit for the final boss. And it would be a shame that to, you know, go from Emmett Selk to a cardboard cutout of, you know, definitely not Sephiroth or something, you know. But I don't think it'll come to that. I think they'll do some good shit with him, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. And other than that, I'm not sure if there's really anything else in terms of the story that I necessarily expect or want to see. Again, I just want this to be a satisfying conclusion to the saga that they've built up so far. And for what it's worth, I do think that they can do it. Again, I have full faith that this will be a good conclusion. I'm not going in expecting like the, you know, God's gift to storytelling or anything like that. I'm not expecting this to even like top Shadowbringers, because I mentioned a couple times in my playthroughs of those of like Shadowbringers itself and with 5.3 in particular, that I don't know how they can really top the stuff that they did with Shadowbringers in terms of the MSQ, because it was, a lot of it was really well built up, and it's going to be really difficult to match those. You know, I kind of compare it to, if you're an old school wrestling fan, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Like, they had that WrestleMania 25 match, and in my opinion, that was the best match of all time. Like, I don't watch wrestling anymore, so, you know, maybe people have different opinions, but for me, as a massive fan at the time, that was like the pinnacle of professional wrestling. That was like, holy shit, that was godlike. That was the best match I have ever seen in my life. And then the following year at WrestleMania 26, they had a rematch. And that was Shawn Michaels' final match. Definitely his final match. He never wrestled after that. Never again. Absolutely never again. But they had a rematch one more time at WrestleMania 26. And that match was also really good. But there was no way, absolutely no way that they could have topped WrestleMania 25. Because 25, their match at 25 was so perfect in so many different ways that it's really hard to follow that up. They managed to follow it up in a way that was satisfying, but if you ask me which match is better, I would say WrestleMania 25. And I think Shadowbringers was this game's WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker match. I don't know how they can top it. I would love to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know how they can possibly make something that'll be like even better than the hype that I felt in Shadowbringers leading up to that final moment when we're like about to fight Emmett Selk, you know, with the anime OP show playing in the build up to the final battle, and all the stuff with 5.3 and Elidibus and the entire that whole patch. I think 5.3, my god, that was incredible. That was my favorite patch I think they ever did in terms of MSQ story. It was just so good. I just don't see how they can realistically match that or top it, but I do think they can still make something that is really good. So I'm hoping for that. And of course, if they do manage to top it, then I mean, I honestly might just die. I might just have a heart attack. We'll see. Either way, in case it isn't obvious, I'm really looking forward to the MSQ. I'm really looking forward to that. It is easily my favorite part of this game, the story. It's the reason why I even bothered to like get into rating and stuff, which I know that might sound weird, but for me, when I love a game's world and story that much, I'm much more interested to engage with some of the other side stuff that I normally wouldn't ever touch, because I actually care about the world and I want to be in the world. I want to play the game. And so I touch these activities that I otherwise normally wouldn't care about. There's a reason why Final Fantasy XIV is the only game so far that I've actually rated in, you know? It's because of the story. I love the story, and I hope that they can bring this first story section to a satisfying conclusion. And like I said before, I expect 7.0 and beyond to introduce a new cast of characters. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. There's a lot of different things that they can do. I'm not gonna bother trying to, guess that shit, because it can be anything. But I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright guys, that'll be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I don't normally do this kind of video where I just kind of sit down and just, you know, talk about things that I like, but every now and then I might do it. If you enjoy this video, then please let me know. And I might continue doing them in the future. Like I said, this is only part 1 of 2, so I will most likely get the second part out later on this week, talking about the non-MSQ stuff that I want from Endwalker. And once again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time.